Welcome to Latvia, a land where the number of women outnumbers that of men, leaving most women alone, single, and with an increased need for men who can provide love, pleasure, care, and attention. Latvia, a Baltic nation situated along the eastern Baltic Sea coast, covers an area of 64,589 square kilometers, rendering it one of Europe's smaller countries. Although a small country in Europe, it still has a good number of people living there, around 1.8 million. Well, as you might have guessed, it is not a huge number, but it is a decent amount for a country the size of Latvia. Most of these Latvians live in or near the capital city, Riga. You will learn more about this beautiful city in the later part of this video. But before that, let's try to understand the context for the current demographics regarding the ratio of women to men in the country. And to achieve this, we must delve into its rich history marked by a succession of dramatic events and significant transformations. Latvia first became an independent republic in 1918 after centuries of foreign domination and rule, including periods under the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Sweden, and the Russian Empire. The newly formed Latvian state had a relatively balanced population between men and women at this time. However, Latvia's demographics were dramatically impacted by World War II and the ensuing Soviet occupation from 1944 to 1991. Hundreds of thousands of Latvian men were killed, went missing, or were deported by Soviet authorities during the war years and decades after. This resulted in a much higher mortality rate for the male population. Even during the Soviet era, many ethnic Russians and other nationalities were encouraged to relocate to Latvia, resulting in an influx of predominantly male migrant workers and military personnel. This further skewed the demographic balance in favor of more women. In the post-Soviet period after regaining independence in 1991, difficult economic circumstances drove many working-age Latvian men to seek employment abroad, once again reducing the male population. It might also interest you to know that statistically, men in Latvia also have lower life expectancies compared to women, with risky jobs, poor lifestyles, and other factors contributing to higher male mortality rates over time. Latvia's population is predominantly composed of Latvians, who constitute approximately 62% of the population. Besides Latvians, there are significant ethnic minorities such as Russians, Belarusians, Ukrainians, and other smaller ethnic groups. Therefore, it's quite common to encounter women with Slavic traits in Latvia. Here in the country, you'll find beautiful women with long blonde hair, smooth skin, eyes as blue as the sea, and surprisingly, they have a keen interest in American citizens. In Latvia, the ratio of women to men is skewed, with 53% of the population being women and only 47% men. On average, more than 100,000 single women are available for any foreigner to engage with, even for marriage and building a life in Latvia. Have you ever considered the possibility of finding a wife in this country? Before you provide an answer to this question, let's get to know more about Latvia's women. For centuries, Latvian women have been masters of textile arts, like weaving and embroidery. Using techniques passed down from mother to daughter over generations, their skilled hands create stunning linen masterpieces adorned with intricate folk patterns. You'll see their handiwork proudly displayed in museums, churches, and homes across Latvia. This isn't just artistry, it's a way of life intertwined with their identity. Speaking of identity, the women here have long been the keepers of ancient Baltic folk traditions and pagan nature rituals, even after Christianity became the dominant religion. Despite outside influences, they maintained spiritual traditions tied to the land, the seasons, the cycles of nature, singing haunting Dana's folk songs, weaving garments embedded with symbolic meanings. They've preserved immense cultural memory and wisdom. You know those hearty, delicious Latvian foods like bacon-stuffed pierogi, pickled vegetables, and dark rye breads? Thank the ladies for that too. Passing down recipes from the old days, they expertly use what's provided by the forests and farms surrounding them each season. It's all about living in harmony with their environment and not letting anything go to waste. Even today, you'll find Latvian women heavily involved in cultural activities like the famous nationwide song and dance festivals every 5 years. Gathering by the thousands in brilliant national costumes, they celebrate their intangible heritage through traditions like polyphonic singing and ornate patterned dances. It's an incredibly powerful and moving experience. By now, you're probably thinking about visiting or moving to Latvia, but before you decide, it's important to know how much things cost there. Let's talk about housing first. In the capital city, Riga, renting a one-bedroom apartment can cost between $450 and $700 per month in the city center, or $350 to $600 in the suburbs. Smaller cities have places for $300 to $500 a month, while rural areas are cheaper, around $200 to $400. But prices can change based on where you live and what kind of place you want, so it's a good idea to do some research. Now, let's talk about food. Eating out can be cheap, with street food or casual restaurants charging $6 to $12 per meal. Mid-range places might be $12 to $24, and fancy restaurants can be even more. If you eat out a lot, you might spend $190 to $370 per month. Cooking at home is cheaper, usually $170 to $310 per month. Next, there are other expenses like internet, gym memberships, and clothes. Internet costs $18 to $36 a month, and going to the gym can be $24 to $48 per month. Clothes are affordable, with shirts for $12 to $24 and jeans for $36 to $72. Now let's talk about income. The minimum wage is $660 per month, and the average salary is about $1,960 per month. In the tech industry, new programmers might make $2,000, while experienced ones could earn over $4,450 per month. If you're planning to visit Latvia, a one-way flight ticket costs around $700. So keep these costs in mind when planning your trip or move. Talking about movement, did you know Latvia has a well-developed transportation network that connects the country internally and with neighboring nations? Latvia has an extensive road network of over 73,000 kilometers, with major highways like the A1 via Baltica and A2 via Baltic serving as vital transit corridors. These roads link Latvia with Estonia, Lithuania, Russia, and Belarus. The Latvian railway system, operated by Latvijas Dzelzceļš, covers around 1,260 kilometers of track. The railroad plays a crucial role in both passenger and freight transport, connecting major cities and serving as a transit route between Russia and the ports on the Baltic Sea. The Riga International Airport is the largest airport in the Baltic states and serves as the main aviation hub for Latvia. It offers connections to major European cities and beyond. Other regional airports include Liepāja and Daugavpils. Latvia's strategic location along the Baltic Sea coast provides access to several important ports, with the port of Riga being the largest and busiest. Other significant ports include Ventspils, Liepāja, and Skulte. Within cities, public transportation options include buses, trams, and electric trains. In Riga, the public transport system is well developed, especially in the capital city. Riga is the capital and largest city of Latvia, located on the Baltic Sea coast in the north-central part of the country. With a population of over 600,000, it is not only the economic and cultural center of Latvia, but also a significant hub in the Baltic region. Riga has a rich history, with its origins dating back to 1201 when it was founded as a port city by German merchants. The city's Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is renowned for its well-preserved medieval architecture, including the iconic Riga Cathedral, St. Peter's Church, and the Three Brothers, a trio of residential buildings representing different architectural styles. As the capital, Riga serves as the seat of the Latvian government, hosting the Seima or Parliament, the residence of the President, and various ministries. It is also a major center for education, arts, and culture, home to universities, museums, theaters, and galleries. Riga's economy is diverse, with significant sectors including transportation, logistics, manufacturing, IT, and tourism. The city's strategic location and well-developed infrastructure make it an important transit hub for goods and services in the Baltic region. With its rich history, architectural gems, vibrant cultural scene, and modern amenities, Riga is not only the heart of Latvia, but also a captivating destination for tourists seeking to experience the unique blend of old and new that defines this fascinating city. Latvia's economic journey since regaining independence in 1991 has been nothing short of remarkable. Over the past few decades, the nation has undergone significant transformations, propelling it towards becoming a modern, thriving economy. At the heart of Latvia's economic landscape lies the services sector, which plays a pivotal role, contributing a substantial portion of the country's gross domestic product. Thanks to its climate, Latvia excels at growing certain crops such as barley, wheat, potatoes, and rapeseed. In fact, it stands as one of the leading producers of rapeseed in the entire European Union, making this crop a significant export commodity. Surprisingly, for its northern location, Latvia also boasts a thriving fruit and berry industry, producing apples, raspberries, strawberries, currants, and more. Organic farming practices have gained popularity recently, with around 15% of Latvia's agricultural lands dedicated to organic methods as of 2021, higher than the EU average. This commitment to sustainable, environmentally friendly agriculture is also reflected in Latvia's rich beekeeping traditions. Latvian honey, renowned for its distinctive flavors, serves as another popular agricultural export, showcasing the nation's diversity. Looking to the future, the Latvian government actively promotes eco-friendly farming through various initiatives like precision agriculture, crop rotation, and encouraging renewable energy use on farms. Such efforts demonstrate Latvia's dedication to preserving its agricultural heritage while embracing modern, sustainable practices. Latvia is essentially an undulating plain, with fairly flat lowlands alternating with hills across the country. In the eastern part, you'll find the more elevated areas, like the central Vidzeme upland, which reaches up to around 1,020 feet as the highest point. Down in the southeast corner near Razna National Park is Lielais Liepukalns at 947 feet tall. Head west and you've got the Kurzeme uplands, split into western and eastern sections by the Venta River flowing through the middle. These upland areas bring some nice rolling hills to Latvia's landscapes. Now between those eastern and southeastern uplands lies the East Latvian lowland region. This area has its own unique terrain with moraine ridges crisscrossing and disrupting drainage, resulting in numerous peat bogs scattered throughout. One thing Latvia has no shortage of is rivers and lakes. The biggest river is the Western Divina, locally called the Daugava, spanning over 220 miles within Latvia's borders before draining into the Baltic Sea. But you've also got major waterways like the Gauja, Venta, and Lielupe rivers to admire. Amidst the hills and forests are countless lakes, some measuring up to 12 square miles across. The soils vary across Latvia too. You'll find predominantly podzolic soils, but also calcareous varieties in the Semigalia plain east of the Kurzeme uplands. Swampy soils are common in wetter areas like the East Latvian lowland. Erosion can be an issue in the more intensively cultivated hilly farming regions. Education in Latvia is quite similar to a lot of other European countries. The whole system is managed by their Ministry of Education and Science, and education is mandatory for kids from ages 5 all the way up to 16 years old. Now, early childhood education in Latvia starts super early at just 1.5 years old. In 2020, a whopping 93% of kids between 3 to 5 years were enrolled in preschool programs, which is higher than the average across OECD countries. Once they hit 7 years old, kids begin primary school, which goes from grades 1 to 4. After that, they move into basic education covering grades 5 through 9 when they're between 11 and 16 years old. When basic education is complete, students then have two main options. They can either go for general secondary education in grades 10 to 12 to prepare for university, or they can enroll in vocational education programs to get trained for specific professions and careers. Speaking of higher education, Latvia has quite an impressive university system with both public and private institutions. Some of the big names are the University of Latvia, Riga Technical University, and Latvia University of Life Sciences and Technologies. These places offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs, with the academic year running September through June typically. Most education is conducted in Latvian, but you can also find programs taught in Russian, English, and some other languages, especially at the university level. In recent years, Latvia has really focused on improving the overall quality of their education, updating curriculums, and pushing digital literacy skills. They actually have these education development guidelines laid out from 2021 to 2027 addressing these goals. So in a nutshell, Latvia's education follows the standard European model, but they start them young and have been making strides to modernize and elevate their system across all levels. Religion, spirituality, and culture in Latvia have been influenced by its history of being in the middle of different cultures. Most people in Latvia are Christians, with about 25% being Lutheran and 18% Catholic. Latvian traditions and old beliefs have also affected the spiritual life of the